Hi everyone, a very good afternoon to all of you and welcome to the session, another practice session for you all to practice some more questions. So, quickly let me know if I am properly audible and visible. All okay? I hope so. So, we will continue with the questions. Already a few sets are over. You can go and check those questions out, those videos out. If you're new here, you don't know me, I'm a faculty of English, Niharika John Mehra, and I take regular classes on this channel and also on a sister channel. Schedule कुछ ऐसा है मेरा Monday, Wednesdays and Fridays. My classes are here 1:30 p.m. and rest of the days uh, that's Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. 1:30 p.m. classes are on other channel, which is CGB IBPS Hub. Okay. Now this is the channel where I'm taking mains practice for SBI, and on this channel we are continuing with the CSAT questions. Okay. All you have to do is one by one जैसे क्वेश्चन आपको दिखाए जाते हैं, you need to answer those questions here, and then हर एक क्वेश्चन के ऊपर एक डिस्कशन आपको मिलेगा so that you understand आपका अप्रोच कहाँ पर गलत हो गया, और did you think correct in the first place but then later on you change your answer. Comprehension जो है, it is something that comes over a period of time, it develops over a period of time. It is not a shortcut or like a grammar rule you can learn and apply every single time the same way. तो यहाँ पे flexibility इतनी है कि versatility आ जाती है. Okay, there you go. This is the first question for today. Please start working on this one. Answer आपको यहाँ chat में देना है. Make sure to like, share and subscribe if you are new to the channel. Answer to this one is C. Now this is an inference question, which means whatever it is, वो इसके अंदर से होगा, not directly mentioned, but that's what we understand from some of the part or the complete paragraph. Okay, so Akbari is no architect and his grand plan is no conceptual art project. Based at the lab in California, Akbari is a scientist who has come, अभी कौन है क्या है, come up with a new way to fight global warming. यहाँ पे actually हमें author बता रहा है अकबरी क्या है कौन है. It could be the easiest solution you have ever heard of. और हो सकता है बहुत ही आसान चीज़ है जो अभी तक His big idea is based on principles. अभी क्या principle है? As old as whitewashed village that scatter the hills of Europe, southern Europe and North Africa. तो उनका जो idea principles है वो किस पर based है? Turn enough of the world's black urban landscape white. अगर बोल रहा है कि white color कर दो, he says it would reflect enough sunlight to delay global warming and grant us some precious breathing space in the global struggle to control emissions. तो सोल्यूशन बहुत सिंपल बेसिक सा है, वाइट वॉश के प्रिंसिपल के ऊपर है. So what we can infer is global warming probably occurs due to Earth absorbing sunlight. That's why he is saying कि बस रिफ्लेक्ट करवाना है, दुनिया के हर घर जो है व्हाइट कलर के हो जाए या फिर डार्क कलर ब्लैक कलर को व्हाइट कर दिया जाए, सो वी कैन डिले ग्लोबल वार्मिंग. सो इसका उल्टा क्या हुआ, जो दूसरे कलर्स हैं एब्जॉर्ब कर रहे हैं, रिफ्लेक्ट नहीं कर रहे हैं. एंड अगर रिफ्लेक्ट करते तो शायद ग्लोबल वार्मिंग इतनी नहीं होती. तो सी इज द इन्फ्लुएंस हियर. ग्लोबल वार्मिंग occurs because of poisonous gas like carbon monoxide. गैसेस की बात हुई नहीं है, तो किससे होती है किससे नहीं होती, cannot say. The whitewashed villages in the hills of Europe and North Africa were meant to counter global warming. तो ये जो villages हैं in the hills of Europe and North Africa, ये जो है इनकी ये थे ही इसलिए. But this is not the information we get. This is just one example, not example but inspiration, जहाँ से पर्सन को समझ आ रहा था कि क्या करना है. ग्लोबल वार्मिंग could spell doom for us, all of us on this earth. That could be true, but we want to infer only based on the lines in front of me. तो आंसर आपका सी है. Okay. I encourage you to answer over here. Okay, that would really be helpful. Okay, if it goes wrong, we don't want it, but then आपको उसमें मदद होगी. Anyways, he has answered. So answer to this one is C. In modern times, again inference है. So first you have to understand. In modern times, the meaning of the word metaphysics has become confusing. अभी यहाँ पे confusing क्यों है? Because of popular beliefs that are really unrelated to metaphysics or ontology per se, with esotericism and occultism. अभी इनके कारण जो metaphysics का definition है या confusing हो गया है. Esotericism and occultism in many other forms are not concerned with inquiries into first principles or the nature of being. किसी बीइंग का बेसिक फाउंडेशन से इनका लेना देना नहीं होता है, दो दे डू टेंड टू प्रोसीड ऑन मेटाफिजिकल अजम्पशन दैट ऑल बीइंग इज वन। इनका एक थॉट ऑफ लाइन सेम है, तो मेटाफिजिक्स में भी फॉलो होता है कि सारे बीइंग जो है एक ही है। तो इससे क्या समझेंगे हम? मेटाफिजिक्स इज कंसर्न विद इंक्वायरीज इनटू नेचर ऑफ बीइंग, क्योंकि मेटाफिजिकल अजम्पशन ऑल बीइंग इज वन है, एंड बीइंग का नेचर जो है वो ही एसोटेरिज्म एंड ऑकल्टिज्म फॉलो कर रहा है। तो इट्स लाइक मेटाफिजिकल अजम्पशन इक्वल्स टू ऑल बीइंग में नेचर ऑफ बीइंग भी आ ही गया। ऐसे करो इसको, है ना, थोड़ा सा लॉजिकल रीजनिंग जैसे समझो तो बहुत आसानी से समझ में आ जाएगा। Many forms of esotericism are related to metaphysics. Now, some of you can think this is an inference, but अभी और आगे एसोटेरिज्म और ऑकल्टिज्म के फॉर्म्स के बारे में बात नहीं करी है यहाँ पे। दैट्स व्हाई बी इज अ फार फेच्ड थॉट एट दिस पॉइंट। एसोटेरिज्म does not believe in the first principle of that metaphysics believes in, but first principle तो same है. Then esotericism and occultism explain the meaning of metaphysics with a lot of confusion. There is a lot of confusion, but these two, esotericism and occultism, are not the ones that are explaining the meaning and creating confusion. But yes, the meaning of metaphysics has become confusing somewhere because of them. लेकिन उसका उल्टा नहीं है कि these two are the leading cause. That's why the meaning of metaphysics समझा नहीं पा रहे. तो A is that way wrong. आगे आंसर दीजिए। Okay. Now, which of the following conclusions may be drawn from the above experiment? Conclusions को read करने के बाद something if you are getting to learn, एक message जो आपको समझ में आ रहा है, those are the answers जो conclusion की होते हैं. In a famous experiment at whatever campus, when a cat smelled milk, it salivated. तो saliva आया. In the experiment, a bell was rung whenever food was placed near the cat. ऐसा हो रहा था. After a number of trials, only the bell was rung, whereupon the cat would salivate even though no food was present. तो वो cat के साथ क्या experiment steps क्या हैं? Such behavior has been observed in other animals such as dogs, monkeys, etc. And it is a vital input for training domesticated animals. किसी डोमेस्टिक एनिमल को कैसे ट्रेन करें, क्योंकि यहाँ पे वो एक जो प्रोसेस है वो एक कैट के साथ फॉलो कर रहे थे. So cat and other animals can be easily tricked दैट्स डेफिनेटली व्हाट वी गेट टू सी कि पहले तो खाना दे रहे थे, बेल बजाए, खाना मिला, खाना भी पास में था, बट एट अ पॉइंट देयर वाज नो फूड प्रेजेंट, बट फिर भी कैट सलाइवेट कर रही थी ये सोच के कि खाना है. And the same behavior could be replicated, could be observed in the other animals. So that's why we can say that these animals can be eaten tricked. Funny question, an interesting one as well. Two stimuli are stronger than one. Now stimuli की बात नहीं हुई, there is only one stimulus जो कि salivation की बात हो रही है. So that's why D is wrong. A conclusion cannot be reached. ये आंसर हो सकता है, equal chances है इसके, but we do have an answer, तो इसलिए out हो जाता है. The ringing of a bell was associated with food in the mind of the cat. That is true. That is true, but not the conclusion. So you need to understand there could be an option जो कि true है, जो कि passage की information का एक छोटा part है या match हो रहा है. But is it a conclusion? Conclusion का meaning यही हुआ ना कि आपने after reading the whole thing क्या सीखा, क्या message मिला, क्या outcome निकला. So it has to answer this thing. And that's why B is your answer. Chalo. Okay, so now what can be deduced from the case? अभी यहाँ पे आपके सामने कुछ इंफॉर्मेशन दी है और आपको डिडक्शन करना है. सॉर्ट ऑफ आप इन्फेरेंस इसे मान सकते हो, बिकॉज डिडक्शन यूजुअली इज आफ्टर गेटिंग अ कंप्लीट इन्फो, आप उसके पीछे का रहस्य कैसे समझ रहे हो, सॉर्ट ऑफ दैट. ओके, so that's what you have. Anyone who has answered? Okay, so it says Goodrich Group Limited is planning to give top priority to core competence of production. अभी क्या हो रहा है यहाँ पे? So the caselet, or in this case एक case study को caselet बोलते हैं. So this company is planning to give top priority to core competence of what? Production and marketing of tea. दो चीज में इनका ध्यान है. The company intends to increase production. अभी कंपनी का क्या मेन एम है कि प्रोडक्शन बढ़ाओ ऑफ ऑर्थोडॉक्स वेराइटीज. गोडरेक इज प्लानिंग टू इन्वेस्ट 10 crore टू मॉडर्नाइज द फैक्ट्रीज. इनके प्रोडक्शन में ज़्यादा पैसा भी खर्च करने प्लान कर रही है. कंपनी हैज अनाउंस्ड नेट प्रॉफिट ऑफ दिस मच crore एज अगेंस्ट 3.7 crore इन 2005. तो इनका प्रॉफिट भी बढ़ गया है. Now, increase in production of existing products enhances core competence. तभी तो वो टॉप प्रायोरिटी दे रही है ना. इट इज प्लानिंग टू गिव टॉप प्रायोरिटी टू कोर कॉम्पिटेंस. And because core competence को priority देना, what they are doing, they are working on the production. So this is the deduction from the piece of information, the case study you have. Core competition can be used for furthering company's interest. Can be used नहीं है यहाँ पे, it's the choice they have, and they want to give top priority to the core competence to production and marketing. So we have this information. Based on this, it is a very generic thing to say कि एक point को हम एक company के interest के लिए ही use कर सकते हैं. Production and marketing is core competence of good group. No, यहाँ पे core competence of production and marketing की planning हो रही है ये group के द्वारा. So this is also not the deduction at this point. Core competition leads to modernization, not necessarily, and that's why it's easier. Answer one is only the second one. Now, first understand what is the requirement here. You have to consider the statements regarding English language and English के बारे में पैरा दिया हुआ. Many countries most useful studies as second language. That is the language of the British. Now, in which of the statements is the reason for author wanting to evaluate its importance? Question is very specific here. तो वो क्वेश्चन का आंसर देना है मुझे, नॉट दैट कि अगेन व्हाट इज इन लाइन विद द पैसेज और नॉट. सो आई वांट टू आंसर द रीजन फॉर द ऑथर्स वांट टू इवैल्यूएट इट्स इम्पोर्टेंस. देखते हैं. इंग्लिश इज जनरली एक्नॉलेज टू बी द वर्ल्ड्स मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट लैंग्वेज. सबसे इम्पॉर्टेंट लैंग्वेज एक्नॉलेज मानी जाती है. It is perhaps worth trying to understand briefly the basis for such an evaluation. So author says कि ऐसा क्यों है जो लोग इसे इतना most important मान रहे हैं. ये words check करने के हैं. There are after all thousands of languages seems to be equally important to those who speak it as their native language. तो बाकी languages भी हैं. The language they acquired as their mother's knee, at their mother's knee. But there are some objective standards to judge the importance of language. अभी एक criterion जो है वो है number of speakers. Second is कितना कहाँ तक बोली जाती geography wise. A third is its functionality. To what extent it is the medium of highly valued culture. A fourth is something else. So in the beginning itself, author is very clear why he want to evaluate the evaluation, because English is acknowledged to be the world's most important language. That's why it is most useful language, most important, most useful में translate हो सकता है, लेकिन बाकी points हमें नहीं मिलते हैं as the reason for him evaluating. Hence answer आपका only second है. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन पे जाते हैं.